Hello everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back to another video, and today I have my manga haul for the month of November 2017, and this video is coming out a little bit late, I feel, but I took a little bit of time to get some of the things because they were coming like towards the end of November, and I really wanted to include them in the haul because some of them are pretty exciting. But let's start this haul off with the only light novel that I picked up, and that is The Empty Box and Zeroth Marya. Now, this has over a 9 on my anime list, and it's only 7 volumes long, so it's already sort of got my attention, because having over a 9 on Mal is quite an accomplishment, because not too many series have that, so it did pique my interest, and it's only 7 volumes long, so it's going to be pretty quick to read, but yeah. If you've read this, let me know what you think of it, and I know it's coming out. I think the release schedule is 1 per every 2 months, or it's bi-monthly, so this series should be picked up pretty soon. I might read this volume before I pick up any more, but that kind of depends sort of on my mood. But yeah, we have The Empty Box and Zeroth Marya, Volume 1 for my only light novel pickup. And next up, I have a fairly unusual pickup, and that is Dolis by Maki Kusumoto, and this is printed by Tokyo Pop, and this is very interesting sort of format. It's got some, it's got accent colors on it, which is very interesting. I have since read this, and it's very weird. If you like sort of art housey weird stories, then you might like or enjoy this. If you're just someone that doesn't like something like out there, weird, sort of strange and odd, then I wouldn't recommend picking this up. But if you're someone that likes sort of that weird out there style, then I might recommend picking this up. Other than that, it's just kind of a neat little story that I enjoyed to a degree. Not the best I've read, but certainly happy that I read it. Next up, we have Tokyo Ghoul-Re Volume 1. I'm probably going to do the same thing that I did with the first season of Tokyo Ghoul and just wait till all the volumes are out before I read it, so long as it doesn't get, like, overly long. So if it stays under probably, like, 20 volumes, I'll just wait till it's all out before I start reading it. But it's going to be a long time before we get all of these volumes, because I think Viz Media is on a pretty slow schedule for these releases, but gotta start somewhere, so here's Volume 1. Next up, I realized I made a mistake when I picked this up, because this is a series that's by Dark Horse, and it's not complete yet, so RIP, because it might not ever be finished, but that's Wandering Island. Now, as much as I like to, take shots at Dark Horse, this is actually a fairly nice, high-quality volume. It's got these great color pages sort of in the front, which is really nice to see. The page quality is actually quite high, and the cover is a very nicely textured sort of feel to it, and it also has French flaps, which I've come to the conclusion that I really like French flaps for whatever reason. But yeah, there's 2 volumes out in Japan, or the second volume's soon to come out. Hopefully Dark Horse continues this series. I haven't actually read this first volume yet because I recently got it, but I am looking forward to reading it, and hopefully Dark Horse does not screw me on this one. But very, very nice looking series, very decent quality release. It's $15, unfortunately, but it is a decent quality release, and while I think $14 would have been better, 15 isn't awful, because it is in that larger trim size, and the volume is pretty nice. But we got Volume 1 of Wandering Island. And next up, I picked up Black Magic by Shiro Masamune. I think this is his first work. Shiro Masamune is, of course, the guy that wrote Ghost in the Shell, which has a box set coming out next month. But, this is his first manga, I believe. This also came in recently, so I've yet to read it. But very excited to get into it, and if I end up enjoying it. I'll probably pick up some more of his other sort of single volume releases like Dominion and maybe Orion. I think those are the only ones that are out in English. But happy to pick up Black Magic. And really excited to sort of get into it because it's fairly old and it's by a fairly influential mangaka, so there's that. Next up, if you watched my Kodansha manga quality review for their oversized or tall volumes, you know I picked this up, but it's the second volume of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. This is just sort of a fun series for me. It's not fantastic, but it's at least enjoyable, so I'll probably see myself picking up each volume, and unlike most series, I'll probably end up reading this volume to volume, just because it's more just sort of fun, and I don't really get overly immersed in it. It's just kind of nice to read every now and then. But quite fun for me. Your mileage is really just going to depend on the kind of stories you like. So yeah, I enjoy it. You might not. It's just sort of a fun isekai story that I enjoy in between some of the more serious reads. But there's that. Next up, I picked up Neo-Parasite F. Neo-Parasite M has not gotten here yet, but it should be soon. I will be reading both of these basically right after the other to sort of compare different styles between shoujo and josei and shonen and seinen, because this is such an easy way to compare styles because they're both set in the same universe, and to my understanding, they're sort of going off of the same sort of inspiration for these stories, so it'll be very nice to see. I'll probably have a video up on it, sort of comparing the styles, but this is, you know, I want to read it. It has some pretty big names on here. The cover illustration is by Asumika Nakamura, who of course wrote Usubora, which is one of my favorite manga that has been written, and so it's going to be sort of like an experiment to me, because I like to sort of analyze the differences between that kind of stuff, but I also will hopefully enjoy reading both of them, and as I've said, I'll have a video up sort of comparing and contrasting the differences in styles between the two, if you'd like to see that. But yeah, Neo-Parasite F. And next up, there was a Kodansha sale going on at Right Stuff, so I went ahead and picked up this series because I was pretty interested in it. It was Complex Age, so there's Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and lastly Volume 6. Now, this work originally caught my attention because I had read the one-shot online, which I highly recommend that you do so, because it's very, very good. Very powerful. It doesn't just apply to the specific subject matter that that the story sort of pertains to, and I believe anyone can sort of really get something out of it. And so I decided to pick the series up. What surprised me was that it has less than a 7 on MAL, which is pretty low as far as MAL scores go, and I've read the first 2 volumes so far, probably going to do a first impressions on it, and it's pretty good. Like, it's a pretty good series. It's not like a 10 out of 10, but it's really good, and I'm really enjoying it, so it being less than a 7 is sort of baffling to me. But yeah, the one-shot that that I had read online is also included at the end of this first volume, if I can flip through it. Yeah. The last okay, the volumes fell. Oh well. But yeah, it's included right here. This is sort of the one-shot that sort of got the series started, and the one-shot itself actually won an award, so, you know, very excited to see where this series goes. Very good after the first 2 volumes, and, you know, as it stands, I would recommend you picking it up, but before you do that, highly recommend you read that one-shot, because it's very, very good, and I think you will get something out of it. It's not just sort of like, you know, you read it and you're done with it. You'll probably sort of, like, internalize something from it, because it actually is pretty meaningful. But yeah, Complex Age. Next up, I have the 3rd Visbig for Rurouni Kenshin. Probably just going to be picking these up very, very rarely, just because I'm not super into the series. It's decent, but unlike some people, it hasn't really gripped me. a whole lot. I know, like, the Suioku Hen OVA is based off of somewhere in the story, not sure where that is, but I really enjoyed that OVA, thought it was fantastic, and just highly recommend you check it out if you can. But this is the third VisBig. Probably won't be picking up another one for quite some time, but yeah, probably just going to slowly collect this series, but here's the third VisBig. Next up, I have the complete omnibus of In This Corner of the World, put out by 7 Seas, and this particular volume is a 3-in-1, and it only costs $28, and it is a very high quality omnibus put out by 7 Seas. We've got some embossing sort of on the spine, the back cover and the front cover, the pages themselves. We have some color pages thrown in sort of in the front. There's some in the middle, if I can flip to them. I can't flip to them quickly, but the page quality, very high. The spine doesn't really bend a whole lot. And overall, like, if you hold this, you'll realize this is a very, very, very heavy volume for its size. But, yeah, very happy with this omnibus. Very, very, like, it has a lot of value in it, because it's, you know, it's only $28, and it's a 3-in-1 omnibus of quite high quality. It's not quite VisBig level quality, but it's pretty close to that. So if you are at all interested in this series, this is quite a decent volume in terms of quality. I've yet to read the story, got here recently, like most of these, but you know, high quality omnibus put out by 7 Seas. Very happy with that. Hopefully this trend continues with some of their future series, but I hear great things about this, hear great things about the film. Hopefully I enjoy this as well. But In This Corner of the World, very high quality omnibus, very happy with it, and it will be read at some point in the near future. Next up, I picked up some of a series that I've had my eye on for quite some time, and that is Dance in the Vampire Bund. I picked up the first 3 omnibuses, and these things are absolutely gigantic. I mean, you can just see how absolutely they are very, very thick, very, very girthy, and they are oversized as well. So it can be a little bit difficult to read just because my thumb can't always get all the way across to hold the page to keep it from flipping over. But they do look very, very nice on the shelf, and it's a 3-in-1 omnibus, and it is only $20, so quite good value, especially when you consider that it's an oversized volume. But very happy to have these, but I want to get a little bit more into the series than where I am before I decide to sort of pick up the rest. I know the second season, or the final part, is coming out this December. Season 2, Scarlet Order, something like that. So I'll be reading these, deciding whether or not to pick up more, but I really do like these spines. They look absolutely fantastic. And the quality on these is not actually that bad. If we take a look at the spine, I can open this up pretty far, and while it does bend, it's sort of in a U shape as opposed to a V shape, so not really creasing, which is really, really what you want. It's okay for it to bend, so long as it's not really creasing, because it's not as noticeable, but very happy to pick these up. If you've read this series, let me know what you think of it. I know it's fairly well known to, I believe, so nice to get some second opinions on it, but yeah, I picked up the first 3 omnibus volumes put out by 7 Seas. Next up, I picked up the first 2 volumes of Hana and Hina After School. This is the newest Yuri series by Milk Morinaga, with the third and final volume coming out later this month on the 28th, I believe. If it's by Milk Morinaga, I'm going to pick it up. That's just kind of how I am, because she writes some great Yuri stories. Girlfriends is probably the best one out there, and a great story. Nonetheless, without the sort of Yuri pandering and fan service. It's just a really good romance story. But, you know, very excited to get into this when the 3rd volume comes out. So, hopefully she writes keeps on writing, and hopefully Seven Seas keeps on publishing her stuff. But very happy to pick up these 2 volumes, and am in anticipation for that 3rd and final one. Next up, I picked up a 2-volume shoujo series put out by Central Park Media, which is pretty uncommon, but it was on Right Stuff, and it was $3 per volume, so the series in total was $6, so very cheap to pick up, and it had my interest, and that is Just a Girl. Haven't seen anyone else talk about this series. It's written and illustrated by Tomoko Taniguchi. Don't know if she's married or in a relationship, or was in a relationship, or related to Jiro Taniguchi, but yeah, this seems like a pretty interesting series. Only 2 volumes, very cheap for me to pick up, and you know, not something I see all the time, so wanted to pick it up before it ceases to be available. But yeah, let me know if you want to hear my opinion on this series, because it is pretty uncommon, and I've never seen anyone else have it. So if you want an opinion on it, just let me know down in the comments below. Next up, I picked up the 3rd volume of The Water Dragon's Bride. Don't have much to say about this series. I read the 1st volume, enjoyed it, came to the conclusion that I'll probably enjoy it more if I binge read it, so I'm just going to wait until all the volumes come out, so long as it doesn't get too long before I, you know, start reading it again. But you know, of what I've read, it is a pretty decent story. If you liked Dawn of the Arcana up here, seems like you'll also enjoy this one as well. Just sort of a well-written shoujo-y story by Rei Toma. And I believe, though, in the 1st volume, it was very similar to Dawn of the Arcana in the fact that it was very quick to get through each volume, which is something that's nice. It means I don't have to set aside a bunch of time to sort of read a volume. So maybe that changes in later volumes, but from the 1st volume, it's pretty quick to get through. Seems pretty decent. If you're a fan of Rei Toma's Dawn of the Arcana, this seems like a series that you will like. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. The Water Dragon's Bride. And next up, I picked up 3 single-volume shoujo series, Short-Tempered Melancholic, Mistress Fortune, and Heaven's Will. Short-Tempered Melancholic and Mistress Fortune are both written by Ariana Tanemura. She wrote Full Moon, Time Stranger Kyoko, Ion, a lot of fairly famous shoujo series that are out here and have been published by Viz Media. I'll probably end up picking up more of her stuff just because I enjoyed both of these. I'm in the minority in that I preferred Short-Tempered Melancholic over Mistress Fortune. Short-Tempered Melancholic being a collection of short stories, Mistress Fortune being sort of one continuous story. But I'll probably pick up more of her works, probably Time Stranger Kyoko next, just because I did enjoy these, and that's only 3 volumes long, so not much of a commitment there. I also read Heaven's Will. Also enjoyed that. Not the best I've read, but definitely decent. Out of these 3, I'd say Short-Tempered Melancholic was my favorite, followed by Heaven's Will, with the last being Mistress Fortune. If you've read any of these, let me know your opinions in the comments down below. If you'd like to pick either of these up, they're fairly cheap. They're at the lowest price that Viz Media has, which is either $9 or $10, so, you know, quite decent shoujo stories. If you're into shoujo, these are very quick, very cheap to pick up, so I'd recommend basically all of these if you are into shoujo. Next up, I picked up the 6th volume of 7th Garden. I've not read this one yet. I'm going to hold off until we catch up to the 8th volume, I believe, is what is out in Japan, and it's currently on hiatus. Before I read any more of the series, just because I tend to prefer series more when I binge them. And this series will probably not be an exception to that. But I've been enjoying 7th Garden. There is some ecchi and some fan service in it, so do know that before you pick it up. If that is something that you are revolted by, then you might not like this. But I am certainly enjoying it. If you're a fan of sort of shonen-y series, this is more similar to, I want to say, a Claymore in that it's not... it's sort of in that mid-ground, because this is published in a monthly magazine, between sort of the younger shonen, I guess, the ones that feel younger. I don't know how to sort of explain it, but some feel like they're more for a mature audience than others, and this is sort of in that category, I would say. But I've been enjoying it. Let me know any series that are similar to this that I might enjoy down in the comments below, because I don't have very many shonen series in my collection as of now, and so I'd like to increase the variety in my collection. But there's the 6th volume of 7th Garden. Next up, I picked up Samurai Legend, which is a single-volume series illustrated by Jiro Taniguchi. This has not been read yet. This just got here recently as well. Just, you know, I hear Jiro Taniguchi has great art, and I think that just shows he does. But very excited to get into this. I got this for $4 on Right Stuff for whatever reason. This is a $16 volume, and I got it for 75% off, which is pretty good. I like single volume series, so I thought, why not? It'll be read soon. Let me know if you want to know my opinion on it, because it is so short and pretty cheap to pick up. Yeah, there's Samurai Legend, especially if you're a Jiro Taniguchi fan. I know this isn't written by him, but if there are other things by him that you know, you enjoy quite a lot, let me know about those in the comments below. I'm thinking about picking up the Ice Wanderer, but Ponemon volumes are very expensive, so it might be a while before I pick up any more Jiro Taniguchi work, but I know he's fairly famous mangaka, and sort of want to see what he's about, because a lot of people talk about him, and I don't know much myself. But there is Samurai Legend. Oh, this is published by Central Park Media as well. Don't know if I said that, but that's who publishes it. Next up, I have some One Piece books releases. They don't publish much. They released Tenken, which I quite enjoyed, and so I thought, you know, maybe they're publishing some other nice series, so I decided to pick up 2 of their single-volume series that are out, and that is Smuggler and Breathe Deeply. I haven't read either of these as they came in recently, but I hear Smuggler, that's sort of like a mafia or gangster story to my understanding, and I don't know much about Breathe Deeply, but it seems to have some pretty good reviews. So I'm very excited to get into these. Again, they're single-volume series, which I really enjoy to read. Short, quick stories that I can get over with, get the point, read it, understand it, sort of in a sitting. Let me know if you'd like your opinions on either of these, just because I don't see anyone picking them up or talking about them. I'll probably, if either of them ends up being fantastic in my opinion, I'll definitely make a video on it, but if I end up not making a video on them, just let me know. If I've read it by the time you ask, I will let you know what I think of it. But yeah, Smuggler and Breathe Deeply, both by One Piece books. Second to last, I have one of my most anticipated volumes. If you watched my tag by Apollo Gray, this was sort of featured in it. Sort of went off on a tangent, but I've been searching for this volume for a long time, but it's very expensive because it's out of print and by Vertical, and it's also by a very famous mangaka, Moyoko Anno, and that is Sakuran. Now, I have read this, I did enjoy it. Would I recommend going out of your way to pick it up? Probably not, because it's going to be difficult to find one for a decent price, if that's even possible. But I'm very happy to have this in my collection. Has this nice metallic cover on it, which is really, really cool looking. And I'm very, very close to picking up all the Vertical titles that I want to pick up, so it'd be fairly fun to just have an entire publisher's catalog that I want to have in my collection. There aren't too many left that I have to pick up. Unfortunately, a lot of them are out of print, so it may never happen, but I did enjoy reading Sakuran. Very unique, very interesting story, and if Vertical decides to publish more stories in this vein, I would be very, very happy. Get some more Moyoko Anno works, and publish some more Kyoko Okazaki works as well. But yeah, there is Sakuran. And last up, we have Battle Angel Alita, the deluxe edition 2-in-1 hardcover put out by Kodansha, who I still haven't figured out, because this is an absolutely fantastic and glorious release, very high quality, and just absolutely amazing. If you are a collector or just a fan of Battle Angel Alita, I highly recommend you picking it up. This thing is enormous. It doesn't even fit on camera, but haven't gotten into this yet. We'll be getting into it before I pick up more, because these volumes are $30 a piece, but they are 2-in-1s, and this is an amazing quality release put out by Kodansha. Don't know why they don't, you know, up the quality on their standard volumes, but this is a great release. If you're into Battle Angel Alita, pick it up. Very high quality. You'll be very, very happy to have it in your collection, as am I, but you know, very influential series, very famous series. Very happy to pick up this first volume, and it's just, you know, it's very high quality. As I've said before, if Kodansha could do this more often, I would be very, very happy, because these are very, very great volumes. But that'll be all for this haul video. If you enjoyed, let me know. If there are series recommendations, questions, concerns, comments, recommendations, all that kind of stuff, leave those in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share, and if you'd like to keep up to date with all of my content, you can hit that subscribe button. But anyway, that'll be all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Laethas. Goodbye.